Hey, Kat, we're on. Come on. Hey, welcome back. What an amazing year. What an amazing year to share together. And here we start another one. And it's an amazing time of year filled with an astonishing opportunity and yet it is one day at a time and we're examining this topic. I suspect you might want to um, you have an impulse that the next year can be better than the one we just lived, as however the last one was, the next one can be better, bigger, brighter, bolder, more filled with love and light and truth and harmony and well-being. And if you have that impulse, so do I. And so oh, by the way, it's like where'd the studio and the light and the chair go? It's I'm working on it. It's a big project. So I'm kind of shooting for early next week. So big improvements on the way. But here's an interesting notion that we might consider as we complete the year just completed and as we move into the new year. And it's probably the hardest of all spiritual principles to enact. It could very well be the hardest one to even understand. It could be the one that we find to be most repellent to our intelligence and our sense of worldly wisdom. And it's three words of spiritual truth compressed into three simple words. And in the opinion of my favorite spiritual writer, and perhaps the greatest spiritual being who ever lived, it's all compressed into three words. And here it goes. We'll complete the year with this spiritual principle. And the three words are resist not evil. Resist not evil is the cardinal rule, and it is the most powerful principle that we have at our disposal, at our implementation in order to produce the greatest harmony. And yet it is the one that when we hear it, it's almost, well, for some, it's almost instant anathema to their sense of well-being because, well, we're taught to resist. What does the word resist mean? Struggle, effort, try to prevent, get in the way of, obstruct, um, struggle against an authority. And of course, it's a great worldly principle. Whenever I'm in Whole Foods, I see countless people wearing resist t-shirts. And yet the the greatest spiritual minds that have ever taught us say resist not evil. Well, let's have a look for just a moment. And here's one way we might think of it. Can you imagine God struggling? Can you imagine God sitting at his desk with his hands and his glasses tilted down his nose looking at a problem, God looking at his taxes, for example, just how am I ever going to pay this, or how am I ever going to solve all these problems, or now that it's such an absurd notion of God having to struggle to make something happen. In fact, in the beginning, God started the whole universe. Well, if God didn't, who did? And if you're one of the proponents who believe in a power that started the universe and is behind all of it and is a loving presence, then can you imagine God was just sitting there, just eyes pinched, forehead wrinkled, shoulders tensed, breathing short, struggling against, I wonder if I can get the universe started? It's ridiculous. It's absurd. We know that that's not true, and yet that's what we do. And yet we're made in the image and likeness of God, aren't we? Why are we struggling? Why are we resisting? What are we pushing against? How much does our resistance really produce harmony in our life? How many, let me say it from another angle. How many times have you let go of resistance, struggling, trying, and efforting, and something then finally worked out? The tumblers finally fell into place. The door just automatically opened rather than beating on it and beating on it and beating on it. And we are counseled at the highest level of wisdom to resist not evil. Now, another way of thinking about this is working at the proper end of leverage or a tool. We know people that work hard, that put more effort in than anybody else. They move wheelbarrows of stuff from over there to over there. And yet, when the day is done, they're extraordinarily tired, burnt out, and truly, in the largest sense, not really much has been accomplished. Some earth has been moved from there to there, big deal. And there are others who, with the slightest movement of aiming their mind and their choice and their decision, the world opens up. And this is, of course, working at the proper end of leverage. Our friend Archimedes, Eureka, the fellow who figured out how to weigh gold, he was so excited about that, he jumped out of his bathtub and ran through Athens, naked, yelling Eureka, because he figured out something so amazing that humans had been struggling with. But Archimedes said, give me a large enough lever and I'll move the world. Are we working at the proper end of the tool? If you take a very large wrench and try to open a nut with it and you use the wrench backwards, it's amazing how much effort you can put in and get nothing out of it. And yet, this is what we humans do. And this is why we're constantly counseled, resist not evil. Give up the struggle and the effort. Well, Greg, can you give me one example where this has ever worked? Yeah, I can. What's very interesting is one of the things many people resist, I'll just use this as an example, they resist addiction or temptation, ice cream, alcohol, drugs, you name it. And they keep using more and more struggle and effort to prevent or to keep something from happening. And then we're essentially taught that that will never work. In fact, it'll only make it worse, never better. And so the emphasis goes on resisting something to getting in alignment with truth instead. And we no longer have the problem or have to struggle against it. The problem is not more effectively resolved. It's gone. The problem is gone. So moving into the new year, I wonder if we might consider the annoying, irritating, certainly absolutely wrong notion of resisting not evil and actually putting it into play so that we can start working from the proper end of the lever and start having the leverage and the influence and the effect and the productivity that I know that at our soul level we most assuredly do want to have. So moving into the new year, let's actually take the counsel of the greatest mind and the greatest minds that have ever lived, who have told us in no uncertain terms that resistance is futile. And I know from a human level, we certainly must resist and those awful powers that are blah, 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 blah. But humans have been doing that for thousands and thousands of years. Has it ended human strife and struggle? Nope, hasn't done a damn thing. Here we are. So resist not evil in order to have the most productive, the most wonderful, the most light-inducing, harmony-delivering year of our life moving forward. And now we can talk about it on Friday, because I could take Friday off and take 4 days off from meditating with my group. I'm not going to do it. I'm meditating with my friends on Friday so we can visit. We can talk. I'd like to talk about resist not evil and hear what you have to say about it. But anyway, thanks for the best year that I've ever had in my life. And most assuredly, beyond any shadow of a doubt, our latter days shall be greater than our former days. And as we move into the new year with proper leverage, proper alignment, proper attitude, proper meditation, we will enjoy our best year ever. So have a safe and sane night tonight, a wonderful Thursday, and we'll reconvene on Friday. See you guys. Bye-bye.